Now we go to the latest in the Prince Andrew scandal. It's been 2 months since he made these comments. So allegations have since emerged that the Queen's son hasn't kept his word and has apparently provided zero cooperation, in their words, to the FBI in their Jeffrey Epstein investigations, despite a request for an interview. Lots of theories about what is going on. What's yours, Denise?
Well, I mean, he said there in that interview, if legal advice was to speak out, he would. Clearly, legal advice has been to not speak out, because you can never get into trouble for saying too little, that old adage. I feel strongly that if Prince Andrew did not witness any suspicious behaviour in Epstein's mansion, he would be speaking out, is how I feel. And I have said from day one, this wasn't a mistake. You had Jeffrey Epstein, who wasn't an accused sexual predator. He had been charged and found guilty of it and had served time. Prince Andrew then flew to America and stayed in the home of a known child molester, paedophile, whatever we call him, and made up this cock and bull story about how he didn't want to phone him and tell him personally. It's utter rubbish. So therefore, I think that he knows too much. He doesn't want to put himself on the line. I feel hugely sorry for his daughters, because it must be massively embarrassing. And I feel sorry for the Queen, because I don't know whether she's in a position to force him to do anything, but as a son, I watch a lot of crime shows, and I know that even when men have committed the most heinous of crimes, it's hard to stop a mother's love. So it must be very hard for her.
The point in this whole issue is that we've been reading about Meghan and Harry over the last sort of number of weeks, but this is the most scandalous thing. But on the other hand, when you talked about, he said about legal advice, and you were talking about lawyers, I mean, the lawyers have said that he doesn't have to go to America. And I think that if they did put him under oath, I think it would open up a whole can of worms, because, as you rightly said, Denise, he spent time in Epstein's house. We know that he was in his company for a number of times. We know that there were girls around. Important to say that he hasn't been accused of anything, by the way. But it's all that sort of supposition that we all think about. But I think this, you were talking about feeling sorry for the Queen. I also feel very sorry for her, because it is a scandal at this point. She also has had the Harry and Meghan thing over the last weeks when she wasn't told about it up front. And I just think that, you know, what can you do? I mean, he won't go to America. The lawyers will advise him not to. So I'd be very surprised.
But I just think what happened with Harry and Meghan and the onslaught and the vitriol that they had, and it is huge compared to what Andrew has had.
Well, the only thing is, though, well, there's a point there, because the thing is, they're trying to carve out a new life, and I agree that they didn't approach it the right way, but this is scandal. This is about paedophiles. This is about young girls who've been abused in America.
5 of these girls who've accused Epstein are outraged and upset and think of the help that it could give people if he can help them.
Let's take it back to the Queen. Yeah, do you feel sorry for the Queen?
Not at all, no. I don't feel sorry for her at all. I mean, I think it's a difficult situation, and for that I have empathy, but I think that the traditions and the institution of the royal family has been a very difficult and toxic environment, and has been proved through centuries and centuries. We've all said that she's been raised to, you know, create a stiff upper lip, not show emotion, and all of these things which have led to really difficult situations and mental health situations for different members of the family. And I think that she's had plenty of opportunity to make a change to that. She's seen what's happened in the past, seen what's happened to Diana, seen the consequences of that kind of institutional upbringing. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily her fault, because it's a way that she was raised, it's what she was taught. It's
there are also
it's how she was educated.
There are also advisors as well.
It's how she was educated. However, when you see the product of what that has caused to your children, your grandchildren, surely there's room for change there, and knowing that the way that you do things probably isn't working or could be adapted to work better. So for me, I feel like this is just a product of the environment that you've raised people in.
Well,
I'm not saying that Andrew's behaviour is.
I think you're putting too much blame on the Queen.
No.
I mean, the thing is, we're all mothers here, but the Queen in her life, apart from the Diana situation when she didn't come down from Balmoral soon enough as far as the public is concerned. I think she's been pretty well exemplary all her 90-odd years. I love the Queen. I think very, very few people could have dealt with what she had dealt with. And what you wanted to do, go on camera again or go in the paper and say, I hate what Andrew did. I hate the fact that he's not going to America. I hate what Harry and Meghan are doing.
Not at all.
She can't do that. She
Not
has
at
to
all,
act
but
in
I
a
think-
dignified way.
Absolutely, and I think she should be dignified, and I have respect for her, and I do love the Queen and what she stands for. However, I feel like there needs to be change. For example, I'm a parent too. I was raised in a family where my mum and dad raised me, and they smacked me because they were raised in the same way. Now, I'm a parent. I've seen that isn't necessarily the best way to raise my children because I saw the effects that it had on me. Therefore, I have made a change in how I raise my children. I'm just saying,
Which is why Harry's got
adapt,
out.
see what's working, what's not working, and make those changes.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fascinating to hear all the different opinions, and what I would say is, obviously, it does seem to be that over the past few months, changes are gradually trickling.
Definitely.
You would never have thought that a member of the royal family would be able to step outside and still be able to carry on, albeit not be able to use their royal title, but still be able to retain their royal title.
And they can both still do amazing work.
Exactly.